Hey everybody, so I finally have an update. I had my wax try-in appointment day before yesterday, and it went extremely well. It went very, very well. For those of you who did not catch the last video, I suggest that you go back and watch that video because I really get into everything and explain what's going on and why I've been going to Gainesville. But to sum it all up, I've partnered with Ivoclar Vivadent, and they are going to be replacing my bridges that I currently have with their product. And so that explains all of the trips to Gainesville, just getting all of the prep work done and everything like that, getting the molds and stuff. And so finally we're at the wax try-in phase, and I had my first one day before yesterday. So, as I mentioned in the last video, we were discussing options. Do I want to go with a bridge like I currently have, which is considered like a hybrid bridge, or go the route of getting an overdenture, which is kind of like a denture that snaps in to a bar, and that sort of thing. And the reason for that is when you have bridges like this, obviously there's not as much facial support because you don't have the extra material that fills that area in like you do with a denture or with a overdenture. So we were gonna, toss around the idea of doing these or doing an overdenture to see which one, might look better, because I have not had any problems cleaning my bridges, so that wouldn't be a factor in me deciding if I want to go, one way or another. But for others, some do have problems keeping these bridges clean. It's a little challenging. When I say challenging, I mean it's not as simple as popping your teeth out and just sitting there and keeping them clean and soaking them overnight. So that's something to consider for others. But for me, it was more like aesthetics, like which one's going to look better. And I'll get into that in a minute. So they made two different setups, the bridge and the overdenture. With an overdenture, of course, it would snap into a bar system, which I don't currently have, obviously, but if I were to go that route, then they would, fix me up with one of those. So they screwed this one in, so it was a little different than if I had, the bar or whatever. So I tried in the bridge first. They put the bottom in first, and man, it was just, there was nothing to say about them. It was just amazing. The teeth themselves, I think it's like the Finarez 2. I think that's the line of teeth that they're going with. I might be wrong, but I know it is Finarez, however you say that. And that's the teeth that they're going to be using for me. And, in comparison, between those and what I currently have, first of all, I want to say that what I have right now is obviously gorgeous. They're amazing. They are very pretty teeth, but like I said in my last video, there are different options and different levels of quality when you're picking out, what kind of teeth and bridges to get and everything like that. And so the difference the most obvious difference initially between these and the Finarez teeth are that these, you see how shiny they are? And I'm in a low light situation in a bedroom. Out in public and, taking pictures and things like that, especially when there's a flash involved, these bounce light off of them. They don't absorb light like natural teeth do. And it's not something that I think that anybody would really notice, but you might notice it. I'm not saying that other people would be like, "Oh, her teeth are really shiny. Like, what's up with that?" But you're probably going to notice that. And, it's not a problem or anything like that. But, if you could get teeth that, mimic natural teeth, which absorb light and don't cause this, glaring reflection, then, why not? And that's how these teeth were. They were very soft. They aren't as white as these. And the reason why we're going with a more natural shade, it's complicated, because I don't want to say that I don't want to talk up these other teeth like I don't like what I have. I like what I have, but since I've had these and I've had time to analyze them, and obviously I'm also looking out for all of you when you're making your decision on, you know, what to weigh, you know, pros and cons and things you might like over other things. This is just, you know, my observation. My teeth draw a lot of attention to me. A lot of attention. I've mentioned it in several of my videos, like that's the first thing that people notice. The first thing that people notice is my smile, which is fabulous. You know, obviously, because before I was hiding my smile and I didn't want anybody to see what was going on in my mouth. So that's not like it's a problem or anything, but it is like the defining feature of my face is my teeth, and everybody notices it. Everybody, like when I talk to people, they're really like checking it out, trying to figure out like, why are her teeth so white? Like, what's she doing? And I've been asked in public, you know, how do I get my teeth so white and things like that. And I'm an open book. I mean, obviously, I'm up here on YouTube talking about it, so I don't mind explaining, hey, you know, I kind of picked these bad boys out myself, so it's not that I'm embarrassed to say, oh, well, I have bridges and they're fake, and why did you have to ask me that or anything? But some people are a little apprehensive about sharing that. They don't want to draw attention. They just want a normal smile. Like, you know, beautiful, obviously. Don't we all want like a gorgeous smile? But nothing that, you know, is distracting or detracts from the rest of your face. You want it to kind of all go together. So when somebody's looking at my face, I want them to see me and not my teeth. And a lot of people feel the same way. Some people do like this really bright, in-your-face Hollywood, white, glamorous smile, and that's okay. It's all about personal preference. But since, you know, I've had time with these bridges, I've decided that, you know, maybe I might not want to go this white this next go around, you know. So in thinking of things to change, that was one of the things that I considered changing, was going with a more natural shade of white. But here's the thing with that. These teeth that I have, this particular Finarez brand of teeth, like I said, they're very natural. So it's not like it's with, you know, the regular denture teeth. When you go a little bit, you know, a little duller than, is that even a word, than the bright white, it's not like it's all a flat, obvious color. These are, you know, kind of shaded, I guess. I don't know. They're gorgeous teeth. And so they really, the color of them, they look like a natural white. I've been taking care of my smile my whole entire life, set of teeth. That's what they look like. And so I thought that they were beautiful. One thing that you need to keep in mind is when you're selecting teeth, outside of your mouth, they're going to look dingier than they would inside of your mouth. And I don't know how that works. I think the dentist said it has something to do with like the contrast of your face or whatever like that. So looking at them, comparing them to, you know, something like this, you're going to be like, well, that doesn't look quite as bright as this. But when you try them on, it all balances out, you know, when it's actually in your mouth. So the next thing that was very obvious, you know, a very obvious difference between these and them is that if you look up close, you'll see very straight edges across my teeth. They're very straight. And natural teeth, we all know, don't do that. They don't grow like that. They're not straight across like that. As you age and you wear them down, you know, over time, then they'll have more of a straight appearance. But like youthful looking teeth have kind of, you know, little indentations in them. They're just a little bit, you know, jagged. They're not so straight across. And so these teeth, they look like real teeth, and that's what they do. They have those little slight curvatures in the teeth or whatever. So that was another thing that made them look really realistic. The next thing that was obvious is, with the bottom teeth is, if you look at my teeth, you see this pink acrylic goes all the way up, and you can see all the way down the necks of my teeth, especially, you know, since the gum material is translucent. I mean, you can see the very bottom of the teeth. Real teeth, you can't see that. With these, the necks of the teeth are wider. This area down here, it's wider. It doesn't come to such a very defined, you know, angle like these do. So it covers that area between the teeth up a lot nicer than these do. And that's an issue that people have actually emailed me about, saying, why does this look so choppy down here? Because it does, just talking. It's like, do gums really go up that high? No, they don't. And it's because of the teeth themselves need to be wider at the bottom, and it's kind of hard to get that with, just regular denture teeth without it completely changing, the appearance of everything else. With these teeth, they continue to stay wide at the bottom, and where the teeth meet the gums is very natural looking. You can't see any of the neck of the teeth exposed. So there's no gaps going on down there. It just looks like a nice straight row of teeth. It's beautiful. Then with the top teeth, I liked everything about the teeth. The shape, size, color, all of that was on point, fabulous. I couldn't have picked better teeth myself if I was there actually selecting teeth. I mean, they did an amazing job. The man who is working on these teeth is supposed to be one of the best in the country at what he does, and I was so impressed at his work that it just looked fantastic. So I had no issues with that at all. Trying them in, it was, initially when you try something in for the first time after you're used to what you have, no matter what you have, it's going to be, kind of a shock initially, because it's not what you're used to seeing. Your brain starts to process the way you look, and you get used to your appearance, for such amount of time that when you see something different, it could be a vast improvement, but you're still going to be like, oh, this doesn't look right, and that's your initial reaction. At least with me, with everything I have, that's my initial reaction is what's off, but then when you sit there and you actually inspect and everything, you kind of start to adjust, and that's what I did. And smiling, it felt good, it felt natural. The only issues that I had with them, which, we're gonna correct and have the next wax try-in phase. It's rare that you're going to have a wax try-in where you don't have any kind of, issues that you might want to tweak a little bit, so that's not a problem at all. The two front teeth on what I tried in, they kind of angled inward a little bit more, so it created this right here, this where the teeth come together, a slight gap. So what they're going to do is they're going to angle them outward at the top so they come together better at the bottom, and close in that little tiny gap there. And he gave me terminology. I don't know what it is, and I don't think it's important. It's a gap. It's a little tiny gap there. And everybody has it, naturally with their teeth, unless they, got it filed down. Not everybody, but I mean, it's a common feature with teeth. And so in order to close that so it's not as prominent, they're going to angle the teeth, just position them a little bit differently. So that's one issue that I had. Another issue was the teeth themselves kind of came out a little bit too far, angling them out, which is nice for lip support, but these, it was a little bit too much, so I'm going to have them, bring them back in just a little bit. And what else? That was the only thing that I could think of in there, was those two issues. Just kind of bring them back in a little bit, and then reposition the teeth so that that little tiny gap at the bottom is closed like I have right now. On the drive home, I started thinking, there is a slight difference between the length of these and these, but it's not as prominent as I have now, and we all know I'm crazy and I have to have that. So I messaged them today and asked if they could tweak that up a little bit and make the lateral incisors a little bit shorter than what they had, so that my two front teeth are more prominent. And that's it. That's all that needs to be changed. I mean, everything looked so incredible. Obviously they were in wax, and so the wax color that they had, if you look at these, it's kind of pinkish, darker, paler, not too pale to where it looks like you've got health conditions, but a softer pale pink, depending on your complexion, everything like that, looks healthy. It mimics healthy gums. And so this color was like absolutely on point. So Dr. Martin is going to ask, you know, how close they can get the gum material to that color, you know, in the finished product. And I totally agree. It looked amazing. The contouring was so perfect. I mean, everything about it just looked so fabulous. So then I tried on, and this is going to be a long video, I'm sorry about that. I tried on the overdenture after that. You know, those felt natural. The bite, everything, nothing felt out of place or out of ordinary. I practiced speaking with the men, and it was fine. I didn't feel like anything odd. They felt, you know, kind of like what I have now, so there was no issues with that. Then when I tried on the overdenture, there was a very obvious difference in facial support up here, but you know, that's not what I've been really concerned with. It's always been down here. But, you know, since I've had this look for so long, I'm totally used to it, and I don't really see a problem with it. You know, I could probably stand to have that puckered out a little bit, make my lip look a little juicier than it's looking these days, but, you know, it's not a big deal. So, that didn't change, because what I tried on was regardless, they're going to have the bottom teeth fixed in. That's going to be a hybrid bridge like I have now. That better be the mailman. Wow. I'm at my sister's house. I'm kind of creeped out here by myself. She's at work. I don't know. That better be the mailman. Anyways, so that's going to stay like this. It was just the top that was going to be removable, and I didn't really have any issues with the top as far as facial support goes. So that was very clearly, you know, boofed up a little bit, and it felt weird. It felt unnatural. I've gotten way too used to what I have right now. I can't hack anymore going on up there. And then, not to mention, going from what I have right now to something like that would drive me crazy, because it covers more, you know, of the roof of my mouth, and I'm just not used to that anymore. If I was going from dentures to that, it would be nice, because it exposes more of the roof of your mouth in comparison to having dentures. But since I've been living with these for so long, I'm not really okay with that. So those, you know, as far, you know, aesthetically, as far as the teeth go and everything, it was an identical replica of what the bridges looked like that I tried in. The only difference was the added flange to provide more facial support, and I wasn't really feeling it. And just the overall feeling and everything, it just didn't feel natural at all. So you know, we're going to try it again. They're still going to make the changes that I've requested to the bridges, to the hybrid, or to the overdenture. I'm still going to try them in for the next wax try-in, but I'm pretty certain that, you know, that's not the route that I want to go. I want to continue, you know, with this whole all-on-4, you know, hybrid bridge situation that I have right now, because it's been working out for me so well. So, while I'm talking, since I don't want to have to make a whole new video about this, I want to mention some things that, you know, you could expect when you go in to have like your cleanings, or to replace bridges, or just fix problems and stuff. You know, you go into the dentist with these, they have to get that material out of the access holes, unscrew them, and then take them off. Well, for one, you can be warned that it's going to smell foul. I mean, it's not going to smell good at all. And it doesn't mean that you haven't been keeping your bridges clean. Like, I'm saying, like, let me really be clear here. When they take that bridge off, it smells like garbage. It's like horrific. And you're going to be like, have I been walking around like that? Does my breath smell like that? No, it probably doesn't. I mean, my breath smells fresh. But it's just because, you know, you've got that space there. And no matter if you're using a water pick, toothbrush, like, floss, whatever, you're still not going to get all of that microscopic bacteria out of there. And so that's what you're smelling. You're smelling a buildup of, like, kind of, you know, stuff that you can't, you know, keep totally clean out of there. That's normal. It's going to happen. So be prepared for that. It also feels kind of weird when they relieve the pressure. When they remove the bridges and you're used to the pressure, you know, from having them screwed in. When they relieve that pressure, it's going to feel like, oh, you know, kind of weird the first few times. You know, I'm used to it now, so it's not something that I really notice anymore. The next thing that you need to understand is that your gum tissue is soft and flexible, and it moves around. And Dr. Martin was describing it. He compared it to like a water balloon, or like a sack of water or something like that. Like if you were to put water into like a Ziploc bag, you know, it's going to move around and everything and conform to whatever, you know, it sits on. So your gums conform to the implants and the bridges and everything, and they stay in that position because that's what they're contacting. When you remove the bridges, that tissue is slowly going to start to move around because there's nothing there preventing it from moving around. And so the thing with that is, putting the bridges back in can be painful at first because the tissue, you know, depending on how long the bridges were left out, the tissue can actually move to cover that area. And so it kind of pinches, like especially, let me get back into this, on these bridges right here, on the actual bridges, there is like a coping. It's like they're holes. That's the access holes. It's kind of like metal, and that's what slides over the abutment, which is attached to the implant. So if you can imagine me with no teeth, I've got the implants that are leveled off with my gums, and they're up in there, like into my bone. Then you've got an abutment sticking out a little bit out of the implants. I hope I'm explaining this right. And then that fits, the bridge fits over the abutment, and then you can screw the bridges in and fill the access hole back up and all that. And so when they're putting the bridge back on, that coping is going to make contact with the surrounding gum tissue that has now moved in to kind of cover the implants somewhat, and it's going to feel uncomfortable. What they can do is they can either give you a topical, you know, anesthesia to kind of numb that area up a little bit, or, you know, in severe cases, which I've had that, they can actually numb you so that you don't feel it at all. But the thing with that is, when you feel that initial zing from them putting it in, you don't know like how long that's going to last. And so your brain is playing tricks on you like, this is going to last forever. It hurts. Stop it. But honestly, I've done this enough times to tell you that that initial shock, you know, the initial pinch, it will subside like that. It will subside. So in my opinion, it's best to just go ahead and get it over with. Let them put it on. It's going to hurt a little bit, but then, you know, the tissue relaxes again and conforms again, and there's no pain at all. But I still get them to numb it, you know, with the topical and everything like that. So anyways, I've got my next appointment for my next wax try-in next month. No, I'm lying. Not next month. It's in April. I'm going to have my next appointment in, you know, early April, and we're gonna try those on. I'm gonna try them on. We're not all gonna try my teeth on. I'm gonna try them on, and with the new changes and everything, and I'll be sure to take more pictures because I wasn't even thinking about that. Dr. Martin has like a setup, and I'm used to that, and he takes a lot of pictures, you know, like really good professional pictures, but I don't have those yet, and so I forgot to take a lot of pictures with my cell phone to show you guys. So next time, you know, my sister's gonna come. She came with me this time. I'll make sure to take more footage on my phone so that I can show you guys, you know, all of the differences. I'll take some pictures of the bridges sitting next to each other and everything like that. I'll be a lot more prepared than I was this time. So I'm really excited about this whole thing. They're going to look so great, and I can't wait to show you and compare, and I'll be able to take these bridges out, you know, when I have the new bridges in, and show you all of the differences between these and what I will be wearing in the future. So I hope that this was a good update for you. I hope you learned a few things, and if you have any questions, then hit me up. Thanks. Bye.